Hello and welcome into another edition of the O Show podcast, episode 469. We are presented by BetOnline.ag. Sign up for that 50% bonus by using the promo code capital BLEAV50 for that 50% bonus. Week 17 of the NFL coming up. I am here with my partner in crime for our bet segment. Always bet on Jack and Zach. My partner in crime, the 2021 GCU graduate, the stupid son of a bitch, and most notably known as Hufflepuff, Zachary Kelly. Say something. You're on camera.
I appreciate it. I guess I appreciate being called Hufflepuff.
You're wearing my hat again.
I do. I had to take the L. I was not, as good as the Suns played. I didn't expect Otto Porter Jr. to be the reason my Suns lost on Christmas. Was scoring 13 points in the fourth quarter, but yeah. Do you want to talk about last week's review? Speaking of NBA games, you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the NFL games first, because that's what people are most notably looking forward to. Week 16 of the NFL capped off by the Dallas Cowboys putting up not one, not two, but 56 points up against the Washington football team on Sunday Night Football out in Jerry's world. But when it comes to our own predictions, we're never really great with our predictions.
Not this week. This week we actually were.
We're not great. Your camera's right over there, by the way, if you want to talk to the audience. Not yourself on the monitor, you egotistical fairy. But I'm 4-0 now as King Richard. King Richard versus the Oracle. You are the Oracle of imperfections, my friend. You're 0-4. So what were the percentages this week?
After last week, it was where you won, but it was both of us being bad, both under 50%. We were both above 50% this week. Both had pretty good weeks. Oracle was 7 of 13, but
more
King
than half,
Richard, that is more than half.
Yeah.
King Richard is 9 of 13 and wins for a fourth week in a row. I beat him in the NBA games 3-1.5. The only game he got right was Nets-Lakers, but he also predicted the exact spread on that game, so I gave him half a point. But doubled his score in the NBA.
You make up your own rules. You put up your own points. And I'm still winning. You're making up your own rules, and you're still losing.
Anyway, that was last week.
That's worse than cheating and still failing on a test.
It's not cheating. How's it? My rule gave you more points.
Yeah, your rules. You are 0-4 with your own rules. That says something. Anyways, to the NBA. I'll let you feel good for about 5 minutes here.
We were right. I was right about 3 out of the 5 Christmas games. Only ones I missed on and I missed pretty wildly on this because I expected it to be a blowout the other way around. Knicks destroyed the Hawks on Christmas Day. Wasn't expecting that. And then the other game was I predicted the Suns beat the Warriors, but as we discussed earlier, both teams clearly look like the best teams in the NBA, but Warriors just so deep. I mean, Steph didn't even have a great fourth quarter. It's Otto Porter Jr. putting up 13 points to beat the Suns at home on Christmas. Those are games. I was right about the rest. Only game you got correct in your prediction was the Lakers-Nets.
Not just correct.
That's why I gave you the extra half
Oracle status.
You did exactly.
Nailed it.
Because in the recording he says lose by something like less than 10, like 7, and then it was actually a 7-point loss. So I will give you full props. You were an Oracle for one game, which just still means you were 1 of 5. It was supposed to be my 3 of 5, but you were decent. Did do better in NBA, but like I said, 4th week in a row, did lose to NFL. But not this week. I got my first pick of this week. We got the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Buffalo Bills as 15-point dogs. And I am picking the Falcons to cover that spread. I don't think they lose by 16 or more. And I'm going to pick the over at 45. That's the first correct prediction of the week.
That's
audience.
Your first correct prediction of the week?
Yeah, it's already.
You're getting cockier and cockier. You're getting cockier and cockier, more confident, more cocky. You make up your own rules and you still lose.
Well, what do you think? What did you disagree with either?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'll take the over in that game.
And do you think the Falcons cover? Do you think they don't lose by 16 or more? Do you think the Falcons cover that spread?
Yeah. I don't see them losing by 16 more. The Bills are the better team.
Yeah, but 100%. With a spread that wide, I think.
Yeah, the spread is way too wide. I think it's easy for them to cover that, 100%. All
right, you want to do your first game or you want me to continue?
I will do mine because it's my show and I make my rules here. You make your rules on the predictions, which is... It still baffles me that you're 0-4.
Why are you complaining?
I don't know. Whatever. The Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Arizona Cardinals, the former best team in the NFC. taking on what could be the best team in the NFC when it's all said and done. I mean, the Green Bay Packers, I think, we got a bone to pick with them. But 56 points on Sunday Night Football, I'm not going to go as far as Skip Bayless and lose my mind over it. It was the Washington football team at home at AT&T Stadium. We're a great offense, and we showed it. We put up 42 points in the first half. I mean, that's unheard of. We've never done that before. We haven't done that since the 60s.
So you made their defense fight each other on the sidelines. You see that afterwards? The
that was disgraceful, as Chris Collinsworth put it.
Yes.
That can't happen.
But that was because of you guys destroyed them.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a fun game out in Jerry's World, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, again, they were 7-0. They're 3-5 in their last 8 games. This is the Arizona Cardinals we're talking about here, not the Cowboys. We've only lost 4 games. But the Arizona Cardinals, I thought they were going to come back strong against the Colts last week. I really thought they were going to play well.
I told you this would
happen. It was a great back-and-forth game until the end, but I was shocked to see them lose. That's a big loss for them. That sets them back big time.
Yeah, they have clinched a playoff spot, but the division's pretty much out of reach now.
Yeah, and the way you've been playing in the league that you're playing in, with Dak, with Aaron, with Tom.
No, absolutely. I'm with you. So that's a 5.5-point spread, correct?
5.5-point spread. I think the Cowboys are going to beat them by more than 5 points.
I'm with you on that. And then it's a over-under of 52. You go on the over-under.
God. After last week, I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. Of course, they're going to put up 56 this week. They're going to put up a goose egg this week. It could happen. I'm not setting my expectations too high. I'll go the under.
I'm good. Same.
I'll go the under.
2 for 2. We're in exact agreement for our first 2 picks right now.
What a coincidence.
All right. So now for
desperate for a win, you start partnering up.
Now for my second pick of the week, the Houston Texans take on the San Francisco 49ers out in Levi Stadium. The Houston Texans are 12.5-point dogs, and Houston Texans coming off a surprise victory against Justin Herbert's Chargers, and the Niners coming off a disappointing loss against Ryan Tannehill's and Mike Vrabel's Tennessee Titans. And so, while I'm not predicting them to win at a spread that wide, I'm absolutely predicting that Titans cover by 12.5. I don't think they lose by 13 or more. And I'm predicting the over at 44.
The over at 44. I'll take the over in that game, and I'll give the Houston Texans credit. They're not the sharpest tool in the NFL's toolbox right now.
I genuinely believe that they would be a 2 seed if Deshaun Watson was playing.
They're the perfect spoiler team right now, though. Their 4 wins, they weren't cheap wins.
No, not. And so they were close. They almost beat New England. They could legitimately be a 6-7 win team. You just changed a couple of games.
They handed the Titans one of their first big losses earlier on in the season too. Mm-hmm. They're not. No, they could play spoiler.
Yeah,
they could definitely play spoiler. They're not going to win this game. I mean, I don't know what difference it makes for San Fran at this point.
They still absolutely need to clinch a playoff spot. So this game matters a lot more to San Fran than it does to the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm going to go the under in that game.
You're going the under.
I'm going to go the under. I'm going to flippy flop for you before I can finalize my picks.
And you say Texans cover though.
Texans definitely cover.
Okay, so
they're not the worst football team.
So half agree. So only the over under would disagree now.
Yeah.
Right.
Rams taking on the Ravens. This one's actually very interesting. The Ravens were one of the best teams in the league in the first half of the year, in my estimation, out of the AFC North. And, of course, the Los Angeles Rams, I mean, they literally have every superstar on the planet in SoFi Stadium right now, 11-4. They could still very well be the number 1 seed if things shake out the way that they'd want them to. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. I'm going to say again, out north in Baltimore this time of year, it's going to be very, very difficult to put up a ton of big points. I'm taking the under in that game, but I definitely expect the Ravens to cover. But this Rams team is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, so I disagree. I think this is the first one we fully disagree on. I think the Rams blow out the Ravens. I think Rams win by at least 5. I don't think the Ravens cover that spread, and I'm going the over at 47. I think the Rams offense is finally clicking. Cooper Kupp might break a bunch of receiving records if he continues the pace for these last 2 games. Might even beat some of Megatron's records, which people thought were unbreakable.
And he retired young.
Yeah. OBJ is looking incredible. Stafford, even though he had a bad week last week, the running game is great. Sean McVay is still brilliant plays. The Ravens defense has looked awful these past 3 weeks. So, yeah, I'm going the Ravens don't cover that spread, and I'm going the over at 47.
You over? So that's the first one we're disagreeing on?
I think that's the first one we fully disagreed. We have disagreed on the line.
Can't wait till Sunday. Can't wait till Sunday. What's your last pick, Zach? Your last loss.
The Miami Dolphins, the 7 wins in a row Miami Dolphins, going out over there to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Dolphins are the 3.5-point dogs, and this is the first one I'm going out on a limb for. The Miami defense has looked incredible, and Tua's been hasn't been over the top, but he has, not made very many mistakes, and he has the highest completion percentage at, I think 73% right now. I think the Dolphins don't just cover that spread. I think they outright win and get the road upset against the Titans. Like I said, the Titans, granted, they haven't clinched a playoff spot, but they're in a much better position. The Dolphins need to win out to hope for get a playoff spot, and so I think the momentum continues. I think the Dolphins not just cover, but win that game, and I'm going the under at 40.5. I think it's a defensive battle because that's what both teams have looked so good at these past couple of weeks.
I'm going to go the under with you, but I am picking the Titans to win, and I'm not picking the Dolphins to cover.
Wow,
so we completely disagree.
Okay.
And I also want to point out one other thing, and Hank can back me up on this because I have the text messages. I picked the Dolphins and the Titans, you stupid son of a bitch. You misread your notes. So now I have to be the sucker and make up for the fact, because it is my show, to take your last pick. The Philadelphia Eagles are taking on the, they put up 14 points against Dallas's 56. The 6-9 Washington football team. The former Redskins looking to dish out a win at home against the 8-7 Philadelphia Eagles. This one's going to be interesting. I'm going to go the over in this game. I fully expect and I hope that the Washington football team can resurrect their offense after last week. Their defense is the side of the football that they really need to work on right now. The last 2 weeks have been abysmal, to say the least. And the Philadelphia Eagles need to win out now. They have to beat the Washington football team, which I think they will surely have no problem doing on Sunday. But then they got to beat the Cowboys in Philly in Week 18. Again, an 18-week season. For the first time ever, I'm picking the over in this game. I think this will be an offensive battle between these two squads. And I am picking the Redskins to cover.
So I agree with you on the over. I definitely think I'm going with the over at 46. I mean, the Eagles put up 34 points last week against the Giants, so I definitely think they can do similarly against the Washington football team this week. But the Eagles they have the best running game in all of football. Jalen Hurts is not making mistakes. The defense is actually pretty decent. I think the Eagles win by at least 5, and I don't think the Washington football team covers that 4-point spread. So we agree on the over/under, but I don't have as much faith in Washington as you do, I guess.
Yep, and all I have faith in is wins. Because I got 4 of them, and you got none of them.
Oh my God!
What's next on your grid on the Office Depot Max Power?
Well, with the NFL picks, our 6 NFL picks out of the way, that concludes our first half, which means it is time for
Michael Cera halftime report. Cue that Michael Cera halftime report graphic with the cactus, Hank. Or is that a pickle? I don't really know.
I think it's both.
We've had it up for like 2 months now, and I still can't figure out what it is.
That's what it is.
That is a giant-ass pickle, if it is.
So,
what is the New Year's Michael Cera halftime report?
This is
the final one of 2021.
Yes.
We'll never get this moment back, so it better be pretty good.
It's a small one, but I thought one that was kind of interesting.
Bringing in the New Year small.
So, Michael Cera, obviously we know him mostly as as an actor, but did you know that he actually is a member of the Interstate 5 Tennis Association?
I did not know that, Zach. Please elaborate more.
So yeah, Michael Cera, when he's not acting or doing other ventures of his, he actually spends a lot of time. He's actually a very decent tennis player. I believe on the article I read, he competed in juniors before he got cast on Arrested Development and actually won a couple of juniors competitions and actually was at one point a ranked junior, but now still obviously isn't that full time, but he's still part of the biggest semi-pro tennis league in America, the Interstate 5 Tennis Association. So, we think of our dear Michael Cera as just this nerdy, little meek little boy. No, he is an athlete. He is a semi-professional athlete on top of being an amazing professional actor. So that's the big thing.
How did he not make the cut for King Richard then?
That's what I'm saying. But hey,
where was his agent for that?
Hey, his new comedy Jaunty is coming out soon. He's gonna be him and Jeff Him and Jeff Goldblum should be the stars. Hopefully, if that deal gets sealed, of Wes Anderson's upcoming movie that should be coming out either late 2022 or spring 2023, depending on how long development on that film ends up taking. But I think he's about to make a resurgence. This comedy, some of the early reviews out of the festivals look really great and jaunty from what we've heard from early test screenings. And Wes Anderson, amazing director that has been able to make almost any actor he works with look amazing, especially one as talented as Jeff Goldblum and Michael Cera. So, he'll practice his swing in tennis, but be excited for 2022 and 2023. We're gonna see a resurgence of our beloved Michael Cera, and that's all we have for this last of the year. Michael Cera halftime report.
I'm going to point out the fact that you muffed that sign off for the Michael Cera halftime report, you stupid son of a bitch. But cue out that Michael Cera halftime report graphic, Hank. What do you have left for us?
All right. So we have two topics to talk about in this second half. The first is the college football playoff on New Year's Eve. The numbers and odds are officially out. So obviously when the playoffs were announced, we had our early predictions. Now that time we've got some time to those to muster to really think on those. And now that thanks to BetOnline AG, we have the exact spread and over-unders for those games. Let's go over those. So first, the number 1 seed, Alabama, Nick Saban's Alabama, is hosting, and I believe this one's the Cotton Bowl, the Cincinnati, the undefeated Cincinnati, who is somehow being undefeated, 13.5-point dogs. And I am predicting Cincinnati. I don't think they win, but I think they make it really close. And with a spread that wide, I absolutely think they don't lose by 14 or more. I think Cincinnati covers that spread against Alabama, and I am going the over at 57.5. I think Cincinnati's offense will be really good, and I don't think they've announced the Heisman yet, but I believe probably the Alabama quarterback will most likely win the Heisman. So obviously Alabama's defense is better, but I think the two how-powered offenses, I feel comfortable going the over at 57.5.
Yeah, I think this was the take where I referred to you as a stupid son of a bitch, I don't know, 22 times when you said that you were going to say that they were going to cover that spread?
Yes, because you were at 3, and then you ended at 25. So yes, 22 times you called me.
I know, you cut out the last 18 for whatever reason.
That would have taken so long. I kept the counter going, though.
Good for you. Egoless. Yeah, but I think that this is going to be a blowout. I know they're undefeated, but they haven't played anybody like the Roll Tide.
They played
at
Notre
this
Dame.
level. At this level, in a regular season game. Come on.
Oh my God.
Those games are important. They're huge. Fan bases come out for them like their postseason games. But this is the postseason. This is where it matters. Nick Saban has so much more experience alone as a head coach in this experience with his program, with everybody that he brings in every 4 years, every 2 years, really, compared to Cincinnati. I don't think it's going to be close. I think this is going to be the one where we're definitely going to have to sit down and watch this game.
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely going to watch this game together. Absolutely. So you think they lose by 14 or more?
Yes.
Are you picking, over under then, 57.5?
Over at 57.5. It's college football. It's the playoffs. Are you kidding me? It's Alabama and it's Cincinnati. But they're not losing by less than 14 points.
All right, we'll see. But now I believe this one is the Orange Bowl this year. They're second and three seeds. The Georgia Bulldogs will take on the Michigan Wolverines, and Harbaugh finally gets Michigan to the college football playoffs and a Big Ten championship. Super big year for him. Georgia, surprisingly enough, is the favorites at -7.5, and I think we talked about this earlier. I'm surprised that Georgia is such huge favorites, because I'm not picking Michigan just to cover that spread. I'm picking Michigan to straight up win. I think they get to the college football championship and beat the Bulldogs in this Orange Bowl semifinal. And I'm also going with the over at 45.5. I am kind of shocked that Georgia is over 7-point favorites. That's kind of surprising to me, especially the way they performed in the second half against Alabama, and retroactively looking a lot of the SEC was overall a lot weaker this year. A lot of their wins don't look nearly as impressive after they went against a real team in Alabama. And Michigan had a much tougher schedule in the Big Ten. So I'm surprised, but hey, if BetOnline wants to give me these very generous odds, I'll take them. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go.
I mean, you tend to botch them anyway, so it's like, what's really the difference?
So yeah, Michigan Wolverines cover and win, and the over at 45.5.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned how we could be such of a disagreement in one game and just have like the same exact opinion in the other. I completely agree. Michigan absolutely 100% had the tougher schedule in 2021 compared to the Bulldogs. I'm shocked they are where they are. I don't think this is going to be a tough one to predict.
No.
I mean, again, it comes down to experience, right? Both these teams have a ton of experience in the college football playoffs when it comes to, competing for that NCAA championship. But Jim Harbaugh, I said it at the beginning, this is his year. This is his year to prove that he's what he says he is.
No, I agree. So, yeah, you're great. You think they cover and win, too?
That's what I said. I said I exactly agreed with you. Were you paying attention or were you not paying attention?
I just want documentation. I keep score, so I want documentation that I can go back on. I just want verified proof. We agreed. There shouldn't be no fighting. We're friends.
I agree, you stupid son of a bitch.
All right. So that is our predictions for the college football playoff, and that was going to be where we end the show, but
yeah, we definitely got to touch on the fact yesterday, and hope we're on the same page with this. John Madden, one of the greatest, if not the greatest mind in pro football, died at the age of 85. I don't know where to start with John Madden.
Yeah.
Inspired so many people.
I think I'll start with probably the thing that was the least impactful, and then move from there, which is the games. The fact that started. I believe at 88 is when the Madden franchise started, and obviously it's mostly his namesake, and obviously he promoted it, and he was a big proponent of it, but he wasn't a developer, so he's like, what, so obviously it was the least of his three. But why I think it's still so important is a couple weeks ago, the student of the Dan Patrick show that commentator you had on talked about how he was able to learn such a complicated game of football because of Madden, and Madden as a commentator was known for simplifying the game, and he held that through when he decided to give his namesake towards the games. And so I think I'll start there with the games. Just even the smallest aspect, the games, he was able to make such a complicated game simple enough for kids of even very young ages to understand. And I think he played a huge role in helping expand the sport to just what the popularity it is today. I'll let you go over some of his commentary and coaching, but I think even the smaller stuff in the games, the impact he had on football and the people who enjoy it was just incredible.
I mean, there's so many people he inspired on the football field as a coach, but we've touched on it before. I did play-by-play broadcasting. That's what I wanted to do growing up, and that's one of those voices. Knew the game, insanely intelligent, if not the most intelligent guy in pro football. The charisma off the charts. Right? He was a personality, among other things, among being a football player, a football coach. And on top of that, just one of the overall well-respected human beings in the National Football League. Obviously, you play Madden football. That's John Madden, right? Madden NFL 15 through 25, whatever. Yeah. He's done so much for the game. Nobody has ever said really a bad thing about him.
No.
For being such a charismatic presence, too. You run into situations where it's people are going to throw flags at you.
Yeah, and for how many years? He was a coach for 10 years, commentator for another, I think it was 15, 20 years, and then was the spokesman for the game for another 20. And the fact that in that 50, 60 years that there's not even a story of him being rude once, that not a single of the hundreds of players he either commentated for or coached personally said a negative thing about him. And Shannon Sharp said this, and I wanted to point it out. There was only two things that he expected of his players when he was a coach, and I think those are good lessons for anyone outside of football: is be punctual, be on time for everything, and work your ass off. There's nothing more you wanted. He's if you do those two things, I will be happy with you. And I think that just the fact that someone who is that successful, Hall of Fame in basically three different areas, was still not this drill sergeant. It was just hey, just show on time and give me your best, and that's all I need from you. Just someone with that kind of a heart and yet to be so talented. It's just, we lost a great man.
And again, he had fun. He didn't promote it that much, but he had a ton of fun, right? And again, dead at the age of 85. It was literally 2 or 3 days ago. I was on my phone. I'm what's John Madden up to?
Yeah.
Just scrolling through my phone.
And then
last night, we were together. We were at a coffee bar.
Yes.
Just scrolling through our phones, and John Madden died. So again, John Madden, our thoughts and prayers are with obviously the Madden family and everything going on. A huge loss in the NFL. But that's how we wanted to end our final bet segment of the new year. going into the new year, a ton of great football coming your way in Week 17 of the NFL, as well as the National Football College playoff season. So that was episode 469 of the podcast. Again, we are presented by betonline.ag. Sign up for that 50% bonus using the promo code capital BLEAV50. Happy holidays and Happy New Year, everybody. Hit the lights, Hanku.